It was nice to just exist in the Star Wars universe for 130 minutes without expecting or waiting for big saga-defining lore drop moments to happen. That's it. I think this is the review of all reviews for this movie. The Disney marketing machine, apparently, again, lots of CapEx, and I mean a load of CapEx going on right now with Disney into this film, and it doesn't appear to be working. I'm going to show you a few things out there. The Disney shills not really getting behind this the way you would want. Unabashed praise and all this kind of stuff. You would want the Disney shills just absolutely going gaga over this like they allegedly pretend to be over crap like The Acolyte, right? They're not even seemingly getting in on this like they were for The Acolyte, which is really bad news. But let me play this clip here. This is discussing film released this yesterday. Pedro Pascal says he wants to continue playing the Mandalorian, even though he doesn't really play the Mandalorian, let's be honest. As long as he's alive and audiences still want to see the character, whatever my body can do and however long people want to experience these characters is how long I want it to last. Let me play this little clip real quick.
Cross your mind when the time comes when maybe it is time to say goodbye, maybe how long in the future? Is that something you think about? Like, do you get emotional or?
I have no idea. You're making me think about it now. You know, age is a real thing. Whatever my body can do and however long people want to experience these stories with these characters is how long I want it to last.
I want to remind everyone that this is absolutely not gay.
Yeah, you haven't seen that one in a while. You got to eat that one tonight, Chad. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's what we get. But here's the thing: whatever my body can do. Look, I don't think people are. I think people have checked out, guys. You know what? Let me tell you what. Those comments from Pedro Pascal. Do y'all know the clip I'm about to play? Do you know the clip I'm about to play? It's got the exact same energy. Chat, you know the clip I'm about to play.
How long will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
No!
That one.
Is this the gayest Mandalorian there's ever been?
The
Pedro, you can tell us.
Star Wars ever?
Dish the soap. What is going on? Is this the gayness?
Tell me that does not have the same energy. Look at this. This is what I wanted to bring up. Early reviews for The Mandalorian and Grogu are in, and they are exactly what we expected from woke, sold-out Disney, says Bill Holt. The usual page shills are calling it, quote, peak cinema, but the honest ones are brutal. Bill Bria. Finally, they made a Star Wars for me to despise, terminally dull and offensively inoffensive, the blandest episodes of the show that are also totally inessential, a waste of time and potential, Griffin Schiller. An inoffensive, technically impressive spectacle, which I would disagree with being technically impressive from what I've seen in the previews. It's kind of a snooze fest. It's like watching the cutscenes of a Star Wars video game instead of playing one. Of course, we all know that last Star Wars video game from Ubisoft was such a big hit. Jonathan Sims says one of the weakest Star Wars movies, an emotionless, predictable experience, dull, unexciting fight scenes. So basically, Ahsoka, just CGI monsters, a long, colorless, made-for-TV movie. None of this is surprising, says Bill. These lackluster trailers and the Super Bowl spot already told us everything. We just didn't want to believe it. Another day, another Disney Star Wars disappointment, and apparently this one takes place in a galaxy far, far away where lighting hasn't been discovered yet. Oh, shit.
I disagree with that. I've seen all sorts of colors in the trailers. I've seen lots of gray. I've seen lots of green.
Is this going to be like
And
Snow
more
White again, where we can't see anything?
Or more like Solo, where it looks like somebody smudged something on the lens, like literally, because everything looks like it's in this brown hue of fog. I remember how bad that movie looked.
Yeah. Now let me show you another one. This was one that I had marked. I want to pull this up, and this is my point. And remember, these are people that the Walt Disney Company handpicked to come in to see this movie early many times. The Mandalorian and Grogu plays like a standalone, pulpy science fiction space romp. It might not push Mando and Grogu's story to new heights, but it definitely reinforces their incredible bond. We already had this with Project Hail Mary. You're not beating that. It was nice to just exist in the Star Wars universe for 130 minutes, Jesus help us, without expecting or waiting for big saga.
This thing's over 2 hours long.
Wait, I know. Let me finish. Wait, this is important though. You got to listen to this part. It was nice to just exist in the Star Wars universe for 130 minutes without expecting or waiting for big saga defining lore drop moments to happen. That's it. I think this is the review of all reviews for this movie prior to the embargo dropping, because this man says it right there. And I don't know if how bad a feeling, Wizard, I heard your reaction is the same as mine.
Said.
Tell me what that review tells you right now, Wizard.
It means nothing happens. There's nothing worth seeing, and there's nothing to look forward afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It is a one and done. It is the way that Mandalorian season 3 ends on a bit of a fart, that it just kind of ends and it's over.
The whole season was a fart. It was the wettest fart.
I can't tell you how much I enjoyed The Empire Strikes Back having zero to do with lore or moving the story. I just enjoyed sitting in Star Wars.
Allow me to be, the condescending voice as I always am. Like, look, I like the idea that this thing isn't reliant on a bunch of stuff and it isn't setting a bunch of other things up. But you're not wrong. Like, this guy basically underhandedly got over the embargo and told us everything we needed to know about this movie.
Well, he did. I don't think he violated any NDAs.
No, he didn't. He didn't. No, you're 100% right.
Yeah,
he found a way to tell us everything we needed to know.
Nobody has violated NDAs. He just said, this is my impression of it. It sucked. It didn't suck. It was great. It was bad. But let me ask you this, to everybody, and Wizard, I'll start with you kind of as our guest of honor tonight. You get a review like this. It's been 7 years almost since the last Star Wars movie came out. We had obviously dramatically declining revenue, especially on a properly real return adjusted basis, meaning the ticket sales from 2015 to 2019, it wasn't just going down from $2 billion to $1 billion by the time we got the last Disney sequel trilogy episode. When you actually factor in real pricing inflation, it's actually a lot worse. First movie after 7 years, and we've got people telling us that, like you said, if you're waiting for any big reveal or is this what Star Wars needed to be saved after 7 years of the desert, Wizard?
Yeah, and to Tom's point from earlier, this is just the Clone Wars movie all over again. But at least the Clone Wars movie was the setup to the Clone Wars, which went on for 7 seasons.
What are we setting up?
This is actually the end, though. So let's reframe it that way.
Kind of.
And they just moved Ahsoka back a whole year, by the way.
They just moved Ahsoka back a whole year. The Mandoverse Ahsoka crossover we know has been canceled. And if this flops, which anything under $1 billion is realistically a flop because it's the Star Wars brand, that's just
it won't even make half $1 billion.
Out. Right. It's not going to come close. Do you think they're going to make another one of these when
this
completely tanks? Exactly. So that's it for Mando. This is the swan song for Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. If he comes back, it's going to be in a cameo, but no one cares anymore.
Well, that was kind of what I was getting from that interview, and that's kind of I think they were asking him in that sense. Because I do feel like that this is kind of the tail end, and I'm not surprised that it isn't setting up anything more, because this, to me, honestly, this movie is kind of more or less a gimme to Favreau. It was for them up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
There have been two instances that have set up for what's next for Mando. And the first one is the one that we played here. And they're asking Pedro how long you want to do it. The second one of all people was Sigourney Weaver. And they asked her, do you want to do more of these? And she was like, well, I would love to do more of them, but it's so, she's in it for the money. She's been around into the block a few times. She knows what's going on. And yeah, they're trying to make it sound like things are healthy. This is it. We're done.
Well,
yeah, well, Sigourney also knows there might not be another Avatar film next.
Well, and that's the thing is, what is the expectation of this movie overall, though, at the end of the day? Like, and again, I'm not trying to be the condescending voice so much or whatever, but I'm just trying to sit here and go like, well, why is there so high expectations attached to this film? Because it only had like 4 or 5 million people watching it by the end of season 3.
Well, it's okay.
The appeal here,
who you ask have the high expectations.
Yeah,
though.
but at the same time, Star Wars is in this like, it's in the ICU, guys. Like, regardless of what happens here, this
Dude,
is, like I said, a gimme to Favreau.
It's in hospice,
and
man.
it's also the one last thing they have on paper or in any other way, shape, or form that I can understand why this got the green light, because it's like the only thing they've had of any popularity, regardless of how you want to look at it, has been Mandalorian and Grogu. Nobody wants to see another Solo. Nobody needs another Rogue One. There's nothing to tell anymore with the Skywalker saga. You're better off trying to tell something outside of that. I see this as a positive in that respect, but I agree with you guys. This is not gonna. The problem here was the budget and what was set up as far as what it's supposed to make at the end of the day, because it never was going to make the type of money that a regular Star Wars movie was. That was my point from the start of how are we judging this when I asked Pro that? Because is this being judged by the actual Skywalker saga films, or is this being judged by in comparison to the other things that are spin-off movies? Because as far as the spin-off movies, I think this is going to do about as well as Rogue One or any of the other films. It's going to do a little bit better than Solo.
And Wall Street refuses to acknowledge that Star Wars is as damaged as it is.
That's true, but
not all of them.
To a point, maybe.
Yeah, not all of them, but not nearly enough of them to say, hey, Disney, pull it together. What are you doing? And maybe that is happening now.
And the reason I'm bringing this all up real quick is because I'm speculating that there's a reason why they're pushing off Ahsoka. I don't know if Ahsoka is even going to happen, because I've been maintaining that I wonder if
they're too deep into that. They're going to release it.
Yeah,
well, I also wonder if they're not on this campaign to try and win back the classic fans, because after this is why I don't think there is no big plan in place beyond this and then the Hail Mary movie with Ryan Gosling in Starfighter, which it goes back to my point I was just saying, is it has nothing to do with anything else, other than it's Star Wars. So you don't have any homework involved in it. And then the next thing coming out is the re-release of the original 1977 unaltered film. Those two things hanging out there are, to me, even if this is a loss leader going into it, this is either just a button on what has happened before and or trying to say, hey, look, we listened to you guys because we got Favreau back involved again, because he was kind of seemingly out the door after the last season of Mandalorian when he killed off his character.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. So there's nothing that's going to happen in this movie. No. And this is supposed to be the finale for the Mandalorian series, right? What they've done is they've stripped it of everything that matters, because Star Wars is in such a terrible shape that they were no longer confident that anything they put in there, that they could ever finish the story in anything else, because they're canceling everything left and right, new leadership at Disney, all that, okay? But just to give you an idea of how bad Disney is right now in Star Wars, all right? Everybody's going to agree after I say this, I promise. This is it. If we had at the end of season 2, The Mandalorian, if they had said this last episode is so good, the one, right? Right before everything goes off the rails.
2020,
which, by the way,
years ago almost.
Which, by the way, is the point where Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy got rid of Gina Carano, took the whole thing over, removed Favreau's ability to make and shake and swing for the fences. But if somebody had said back then, this final episode is so good, we're going to make this a movie. We're going to do 9 episodes on Disney Plus, and this episode, we're going to extend it by 30 minutes, and it's a movie. That part with Luke Skywalker showing up and the enthusiasm people had for Jon Favreau and the idea that people had that we might actually fix this horrible, terrible, awful sequel trilogy, that episode as a movie would have made $1.5 billion. This will make $500 million at best.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.